when you keep going at that fast pace, you build that momentum and you're able to cruise through, and before you know it, it's over and you're slowing down again. And this is where the big takeaway came for me. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Takeaway, aka the Inside Influence Podcast. And today, I just got done running a 13.1 mile run. And I'm gonna come at you with one of probably my most passionate takeaways. And honestly, the reason why I started this whole podcast and kind of talking to the camera and talking on a microphone is because I have these kind of life moments and life takeaways through my exercise and fitness, and I like to share those. I don't think it's beneficial to keep it inside. I used to actually, when I would have these kind of revelations, lightning bolts as my aunt and I would call them, I would just write them down in my notes and then reflect on them, and why not share them with you all? So I think this is probably the first podcast in the history of podcasts that has been done without a shirt off, but I literally just got done and I wanted to speak on it while it was fresh on my mind and kind of give you as much as I possibly could while it was fresh. So bear with me as I have my shirt off and I'm using my chain as my microphone, but I went into today. Today is May 6th rather. I am 29 days away from the marathon, June 4th, so whatever that math is. And today was my first real test. And I've been working with one of my buddies who was a long distance runner in college. He's kind of been coaching me on all of these tactics and really how to apply them. Now I have all the knowledge and the capillary function and diving into the aerobic and anaerobic function or energy systems and yada, 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 but I've never really applied them, right? And if you've been keeping up with my marathon episodes on my YouTube, on my Sunday vlogs, you know that I've been kind of talking about this stuff and kind of how to program and apply them. But today was the first real test, and I pulled my hamstring. It was probably just a strain because it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I also put like 5 hours of recovery into it every single day for a week, and I took the whole week off, not last week, but the week before, and had 0 miles. Up until then, I had logged like 120 miles, and now 2 weeks after my hamstring, I've logged again, probably around 80, 70. But to that point, I was a little nervous going into today's test, and I'm just gonna kind of read you what the test was, this quote unquote test, because at 6'4", 235 pounds, my goal is to run this marathon at an 8-minute pace. I originally wanted it to be 8:30. I bumped it down because I felt like that was more of a challenge. And it's already a challenge I'm gonna get to this in a second, talking about my height and weight, but yes, it's hard, but it's not the craziest thing in the world, right? So I'll talk on that in a second, but today's test was, and he says, based on your goal of 8 minutes for the marathon, we're going to get a baseline of how your body handles for the half marathon distance with some changes to the heart rate intentionally along the way. I'm going to lay out the pacing below, but last thing I would say for this workout is don't go too much faster than the pace until the end, and only if you're holding up and you have to, but be honest with yourself because we don't want you to get injured again. So I went for a mile run at a 10-minute pace just for a warm-up. Then it took about 10 minutes. I did some running drills, blah, blah, blah. And then I got into the workout. The workout was as follows. Mile 1 and 2 at an 8-minute and 30-second pace. Mile 3 and 4, 7:30 pace. 5 and 6, 8:30 pace. 7 and 8, 7:30 pace. 9 and 10, 8:30 pace. Miles 11 through 13 at a 7:30 pace. Take about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I did another mile jog at about a 10-minute pace just to flush out any lactic acid. So for those of you that might be thinking about training for this kind of stuff, that's kind of the protocol that that was the first test. And going into it, I was super nervous. I even was kind of at the beginning, not nervous that I wouldn't finish it, but how my body would handle it. And because I want to hit those numbers so bad. When somebody gives me a goal, I'm kind of a psychopath and I'm going to do anything I can to get to it, no matter what my body kind of says to do it. And I think that brings me to my first takeaway. I have two takeaways, and the second one's probably a little bit more lax and easier to break down. But in the first one's just kind of, to me, it's a little in your face. It's not really like who I am with this like hard mentality, right? Like a lot of like macho, like you kind of hear these motivational speaker people, and I do listen to them and I love their stuff, but it's just not who I am. It's not the way I convey my message. But I think it's prominent today. And that first takeaway was the fact that throughout my run today, I kept, for some reason, some odd reason, I have no clue why, but the word superhuman kept popping up in my brain, and it kind of fueled me. And it took me to this place of, with each step, we are so capable of so much that we don't know we're capable of. And David Goggins says, somebody asked him one time, like, how do you get through these 240-mile races? How do you do it? How do you put your body through it? And he said, 100 times out of 100, if you ask yourself, can you take one more step? The answer is probably yes. If you're not about to keel over and die, which your mind a lot of the time, mind and body, a lot of the time might think that you are. Our body goes into immediate fight or flight mode, right? But it's fighting through that to get used to the stress on our body that we get the benefits. And chances are you're not going to keel over and die. And that's what he's saying by this one-step mentality. He's like, I just asked myself, can I take one more step? If he can, he keeps going, and eventually he's 240 miles into it. Now, where does that come in for me? Well, that's kind of a superhuman mentality. It's a superhuman way to view your body. And I kept taking this mentality. It's like that first 8:30 2-mile pace, or the first 2 miles at an 8:30 pace, was obviously, it was easy because it was a slower pace, and we're intentionally trying to target a lower heart rate. But then once you get into that first kind of workout portion of that first 2 miles of breaking it down way below the actual pace that you want to run your marathon at, I started to think like obviously this is hard. Your body's in fight or flight, but I started breaking it down like, hey, this is 1 mile. We're just going to beat ourselves for 1 mile. We're going to compete with ourselves for 1 mile. And with every step, can I keep this pace up for every step? Just keep taking this, find that rhythm and find that pace. And where did this superhuman mentality came into my brain, just like with every harder step that I take is more spring in my step, more pep in my step. I'm gaining momentum. And it's truly superhuman because your body is telling you, hey, no, 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 but your mind is telling you yes, and then it somehow just syncs up and you get this momentum. And it's so applicable to life, because if you can just take that one more step in whatever it is, whether it's adversity in your life and relationships, in your career, your finances, your family, whatever it is, like you can if you can take one more step and figure out how to create that momentum, everything starts to kind of become in sync. And to me, that was my first kind of takeaway in it. Where I was going with the whole like idea of like the hard mentality is that you just kind of have to find that space within yourself and commit to your mind being as powerful as it really is, because it genuinely is. Our minds are so capable of so much, and I would venture to say the majority of our population of society as a worldly population does not tap into that side of how powerful your mind is. And if you can, for one split second, if you're on a fitness journey, if you're on any kind of journey and a goal, you're gonna have something hard that pops up. And if you can just channel that inner, for lack of a better way to put it, screw this mentality, use whatever word for screw you want, and just muster up that kind of like the anger almost, and like drive that energy, you can start to begin to build that momentum. And I think that's tapping into a whole different level of that kind of mindset of I'm going to put my mind to it and go, go, go. Now, with that said, I want to tap into the second takeaway, which is honestly probably more applicable and more friendly, and what really was the prominent thing throughout my run pretty much the whole time. And it was this idea that I would start at a slow pace, right? Intentionally, as we've said, at the 8:30 pace for 2 miles. And then I would switch it. I was kind of nervous on like, how's it gonna feel, right? I've already told you it was tough. But in that initial switch, you feel your body just, boom, you go. And you just start running faster. And you're able to push. And you finally get to that spot where you're in that momentum and you're looking at your watch, am I at the right pace? And sure enough, you are, and you just keep going. And again, another David Goggins quote, I guess it's because he's a runner that this applies so much, but he says, don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. And when you keep going at that fast pace, you build that momentum and you're able to cruise through, and before you know it, it's over and you're slowing down again. And this is where the big takeaway came for me. On that first time slowing down to 8 minutes and 30 seconds from the 7:30 pace, I believe my mile, that first two faster paces was like 7:20 and 7:27. I found it really, really hard to slow down. And I felt myself like almost applying more mental energy and more energy as a whole to slow down to that 8:30 pace and get there and then say, okay, let's stay here for the next however long, and constantly checking, constantly, like there was so much energy around slowing down. And I got to thinking, in life, is that not the same exact thing? If we were able to approach life and say, I'm gonna go fast to this. Of course, I've talked about this before, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? But I think that's in the sense of once you get into that flow, it feels slow, but time is moving fast. So to that point, I have this quote that I've said before, be slow to, but fast to and slow through. And I think that's a better mentality, because once you're in this motion and motive of life, that can say, hey, I'm just gonna channel this energy to go fast. There is no other energy that you're putting into that. You're just saying, I'm committing to going fast. Let's take your morning routine as an example. I'm gonna create the best routine for myself so that I can create that momentum and get going fast throughout my day. Because we all know that feeling when you're having a productive day and you're knocking things out, you feel like you're just moving, you feel like you're moving kind of slow through it because you're so engulfed and so present in it. And then you look up and you're like, what the heck, where'd the time go? Well, you're moving fast, but it feels slow in the moment because it's so present, right? So, and I'm kind of jumping all around here, but the idea that think about how much energy it takes to place on, say, hey, like for example, with me running, it was much easier to apply the energy and just say, I'm gonna go fast. That's all my brain had to think about. I'm gonna go fast. And what do? I start moving faster. Move my legs as fast as I can. Now, if we take the opposite and say, I'm gonna go through life slow, it takes so much more energy, in my opinion, and I think we can all relate to this because I've been there. It takes so much more energy to wake up and say, I'm gonna go slow. Or not even that it's not even a mindset that you're committing to, but you're just doing it. Instead of having the drive to say, all right, it's go time. I'm up, it's time to go, it's 5 a.m. I'm gonna knock this and this and out. And you're creating momentum and it starts to become fast. And before you know it, you've woken up at 5 a.m. for a week straight and you love it. But when you take the energy to say, again, you're not committing to going slow, but you're just going slow, think about how much energy you spend when you're thinking about all of the decisions that you have to do. You're putting all of this energy into, oh my God, like the procrastination, and that's all it is. I have to go to work. And you waste all this energy on basically moaning and groaning about things that we have to do. Now, again, that's kind of in your face. it's a little, and I've been there. I've worked in retail. I've worked in a gym. I've done all this stuff where I felt like have to. And I think where I'm going is you have to ask yourself, is the pain of regret worth the energy over the pain of discipline? And the pain of discipline is going to be that fast-paced lifestyle. The pain of regret is going to be that slower energy, and taking the energy to slow down. When you have regret and you have all these like building up of emotions, and it just compiles and fills our headspace with all this negativity, it feels like nothing can get you out of that hole. But when you take action and you just say, hey, time to run faster, you can take that superhuman mindset, and it generates so much more momentum. And I'll talk about one more kind of idea about this energy of going slow. Think about the energy that it takes to go sit down on the couch. You know you're grabbing a bag of chips, and you know that bag of chips is not doing you any good. You know that sitting on the couch is not doing you any good. Granted, let's say you've done all your workout and you deserve to sit on the couch. You've done everything you need to do, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the sedentary lifestyle of continuous, not getting more than 3,000 steps a day, and I'm gonna grab the bag of chips and I'm gonna sit on the couch. And again, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not telling anybody how to live their life, but I'm just saying that the mindset behind that is, hey, instead of grabbing the bag of chips or sitting on the couch, go for a 30-minute walk and then do it, right? Like, let's start to build the lifestyle habit so that we can implement it into your life so you know what it feels like to feel good, and then trigger that fast mindset. But when we sit there and we know what we're doing to ourselves, it takes so much energy to keep reflecting on that idea. And I think there's so much power in the idea that it takes a lot more energy to slow down than the energy to speed up. And I think a lot of times in life, we think it's the other way around. We think it takes so much energy to get going and let's get through it. But think about it, the prime example of living that faster mindset is, and I can attest to this too, especially in middle school, high school, college workouts. I didn't love working out then because I was forced to do it. Now, most of you are probably not forced to do it. You just know you should do it, but you still hate going to the gym. You still hate fitness. You still hate exercise. But when you do it, you conquer it, and you feel like you can conquer the world. At the end of that, you feel so good. And I think, God, if I had one freaking thing that I could wish upon anybody in the world, it would be to tap into how good you feel after walking. What is walking? Why do I feel so good? Oh, I just walked. Or tap into how you feel when you put the right foods in your body. Why do I feel so clean and energetic? Well, I'm eating clean. And if I'm eating earthly foods, the earth is going to reward me, right? It's that same idea when you live that fast lifestyle. Like, hey, I don't want to go to the gym, but you just do it anyways. You're not living the slow energy, slower paced 2 miles that I was running. You are just saying, you're just committing to it, you're going, you hate it, but you conquer it. Now the rest of the day is a breeze, right? You win first. And it's that faster, you're exerting less energy on the front end that you have to think about. And wow, I just went on a little rampage, but it felt good. I wanted to get that out because that's a lot of what I was thinking. And like, honestly, throughout my run today, this is the kind of things that I'm thinking about. Like, what am I going to say? How do I expand on it in my own brain. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get in front of the camera right now. Like, I want to put this out there. And I don't know. I hope that resonates with one human. You know, my goal is if I can impact one person on anything I do in any kind of way, shape, or form, humor, value, motivation, inspiration, whatever it is, then I'm fulfilled. And that's truly what I'm grateful that I get to do every day. And hopefully that resonates with somebody. If it does, I would appreciate if you share it with somebody. That's how these kinds of messages spread, and it's how we begin to change the world. And that's ultimately, that's the goal, is to just spread positivity, good energy, and an overall lifestyle, because we all deserve to be healthy, happy, and feel good in your own skin. So that is my takeaways from my crazy morning. I've got a random question generator to end this thing out. Who is one of your best friends and what do you love about them? Oh, that's so cute. One of my best friends, if you guys have been following me, Mitchell is, he's my best friend in life. I've talked to that dude every single day for 9 years straight, I guess. Known him for probably 15 years, 16 years, but 9 years we've been really close. What do I love about him? I love that he's a completely different human being than I am. He's not into the fitness, he's not into all that, but the philosophical life perspectives that we have, that we're able to generate a friendship around and relate on. We have all the same interests. I guess that's kind of contradictory to what I just said, but with the ideas of sports and everything, but we don't have to have that same like bro thing where we're like working out together all the time. Like it's just I know, and I guess what do I love about them is like a brother. Like we all have that one friend that is you would do anything for, and that's I'm grateful to have that. So all right, hope I didn't make it cry right there over my friendship talks, but that's all I've got for you today. I appreciate you listening. Hope I didn't ramble your ear off too much. If you enjoyed something about this show, please share it with somebody that might take something away. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you're the first one to see my videos when they come out and you get notified. That's the end of my sales pitch. That's all I've got for you. I appreciate you. Have an awesome freaking day, and don't forget to smile.